Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and it's time for another Fridays with PewDiePie. But this is a special edition without PewDiePie. What kind of budget you think we got here? Can't even afford new shoes. I glued them suckers back together. So anyway, first up, we've got Solitude, which is a very unpopular card ever since they decided to side with the Empire against the true sons of Skyrim, and we all know Skyrim is for the Nords. So it's a 5-cost 3/2 mythic elemental incarnation. Ooh, this is the white incarnation. Oh, this is gonna be wild. Okay, so flash, lifelink, love it, go. When Solitude enters the battlefield, exile up to one target creature. That creature's controller gains life equal to its power. Okay, I mean, I don't love that, but okay. And then evoke, exile a white card from your hand. So you can just do this for free, but wow, this is disappointing. This is so much lower level than the rest of the incarnations. This is just bad, and this comes right on the heels of the decision to execute Rogvir. But it's just one mistake after another with them. They must be run by Democrats. I mean, they at least could have made this fly or something. This is just bad. I mean, I get it, it's removable for 0, but you're still, like, burning 2 cards to get rid of 1, and then you hand them a pile of life. So next up, we got Testamuna Temporal. So translating that from Portuguese into English, it means somebody please go back in time and stop this from being released in Portuguese. Yeah, they fit that all on there in just 2 compound words. I mean, it's a very elegant language. Big fan of it. You know what? I'm going to translate this on the fly anyway. Here we go. It's a human. What the hell does that say? Isn't that a Chinese company, Xiaomi? So when this thing enters the camp of battle, devolve a card over the... Oh, pardon me, over of your cemetery for your Chinese dictator. And then, of course, eternalize 7. Now, some people will say that I'm wrong and that it says when it enters the battlefield, return target card from your graveyard to your hand, but obviously it doesn't say that. A 2/1 for 4 with eternalize 7, this is garbage. Next up, Master of Death. Oh my gosh, coming on the heels of Strixhaven, they literally put Harry Potter on a card, because we all know, Master of Death, that's Harry. That, like, borderless fade-out bottom blocky cheese-looking frame on top, boy, that is the artistic feat of the century right there. I hate everything about that. It honestly looks like a Photoshop mistake. Anyway, when Harry Potter enters Battlefield, Surveil 2. Oh, and he's a zombie wizard, so clearly this is like 100 years after the events of the first Harry Potter septilogy? I mean, technically there's 8 of them. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if Harry Potter is in your graveyard, you may pay 1 life. If you do, return it to your hand. Damn! I mean, I hate graveyard recursion, but if you're just going to do a 3/1 with Surveil 2 ETB, I mean, that's fine. Next up, we got Sanctum Weaver, and if you're ever, obviously standing in the shower and you thought to yourself, we've never seen a female Protoss from StarCraft 1 or 2. Well, now you have, and she is looking fabulous. So 2-cost 0/2 enchantment creature dryad. If you tap it, add X mana to your mana pool of any one color where X is the number of enchantments you control. That's fucking insane. So now we've got a 2-drop that can tap for like 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. Does anybody think that might be problematic? Just the little tiny bit. I am shocked that they didn't also make this an elf, to just really drive home that this is like the last set that Modern is ever going to see before it's destroyed. I gotta say, it's $9 pre-order price. Little conservative in my opinion. I think they're lowballing that. I think this is a $50 card. This makes Noble Hierarch look like shit. Kind of a different strategy, but still. Next up, we just got a big Korean explosion. Let me pull up the translation. Oh, it actually is Big Korean Explosion. Okay, that is actually the name of the card. So it's a 3-cost sorcery, and it says destroy target permanent. Let's keep it simple. Next up, we got another one in Korean. They do usually do these in order, and it looks like it is in English. Am I looking at the right one? Oh, yeah, I am. Oh, obviously, yeah, it's a Big Korean Zombie Wizard. So it's a 1/3 for 2, and whenever you discard a card, which, okay, Madness deck, I guess, maybe a, Resurrector thing. You may pay 1 generic. If you do, amass 2. That's put 2 counters on an army if you already control it. Otherwise, create a 0/0 black zombie army creature token, then put 2 counters on it. Amass was kind of neat. It was a fair mechanic. It's just got overshadowed by Red Rush, obviously, if you remember. Next up, straight from Skyrim, we've got Icefane Cowlet. So it's a 2-cost 1/1 snow creature snake with flash and flying. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Icefane Cowlet I sure hope that's how you say it, has Death Touch as long as you control at least 3 other snow permanents. Also, if you kill it, you'll have proven yourself good enough to join the resistance. Hashtag Skyrim was for the Nords. Next up, Clattering Auger. I assume this is the Auger of Dunlane's brother. Looks like he had an equally good time with magical experimentation. Well, the whole family's a little careless. So it's a 2-cost 1/1 skeleton shaman. Clattering Auger can't block. That's probably a side effect of the magic. And when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card and lose 1 life. Okay, and then if you pay 4, return them from the graveyard to your hand, not to the battlefield, stupid reassembling skeleton. Yeah, you heard me. So, I mean, draw a card and lose a life, and then you could, get them killed on purpose, and then, do it again if you really, really need a card. I mean, there are better ways to draw cards with just, lands, but it's still neat. You might get, a skeleton ETB or, some kind of, I don't know, death trigger or something, too. Next up, another reprint, same art. Really, you couldn't change it? Braid's Cabal Minion. I know some people like it because they're like, she really looks crazy. Okay, here's my issue with this, in case I never said this, and honestly, I do hope she's watching. I know somebody who looks absolutely identical to her in that well, I was gonna say photograph, in that drawn artwork for the card. I know her. She's a fucking psycho. She made everyone around her uncomfortable, and it's a miracle she kept her job. So every time I see this, it's like PTSD from at least 8 years ago when I was in a thing, and I do like the flavor text on this card, which states, don't do meth and don't join the cabal. And just keep it simple. And then just look at that face. I mean, that's like an anti-drug meth PSA where all the teeth are missing and all that. Clearly she did both. And it's it's a warning. Don't go down either path. So 2/2 for 4 at the beginning of each player's upkeep. That player sacrifices an artifact, creature, or land. Yay. This is like that stupid Doom, whatever the hell thing that's in standard right now. That's white and black and everybody frickin' hates it. But if you could just outrun them with tokens or something, or you cast a bunch of artifacts you don't care about, you will eventually just drive your opponent insane, which actually I guess that's pretty fitting then, isn't it? So yeah, this is pretty messed up. You could also stuff your graveyard with something from play, but I mean if it's a creature it's not that hard to do. Just keep sending it into combat or blocking. Well, you could res it. So I mean yeah, she's in some decks. People do some stuff with her. So next up, Cauldron Complete. I mean you can't pronounce it the same as complete or people are gonna think that you said complete. Not one of Wizards' better ideas. They have once, ever, in the entire history of Magic since I've started playing, one time they released a pronunciation guide. And I don't think this was on it. But it's where we all learned that it was Jason Bellerin, not Bellerin. This is why English needs accent marks. So it's a 7-cost legendary artifact equipment. It's a living weapon with indestructible. Nice. And then equipped creature gets +5/+5 and has first strike, trample, indestructible, haste, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a creature, you don't see that much, exile that creature. Oh, I mean, that's a step down from Godsend, which is honestly just outright broken. But yeah, that's wild. I mean, if you survive it, then it dies anyway, so why exile it other than, okay, now it's not in the graveyard. And then if you don't survive it, then that probably wasn't worth the trade. So normally that wouldn't be very good, but remember the first thing I read off was first strike. That's important because that trigger would go on the stack before, well, the second strike, main strike, whatever. Main Strike sounds like they kept going with the Sega Genesis games after Desert Strike and Jungle Strike, and it just takes place in Maine. I'd play it. Desert Strike was amazing. I'd play it if it was in Maine. I probably wouldn't like it, but I'd give it a shot. By the way, I mean, no offense to anybody from Maine, but people from Maine are fucking weird. The way you talk, your accent makes no sense to me from Wisconsin as I sit here and drink a bag of dragon milk, you guys. Is it just me or not, you guys? Anyway, this is Equip 7. I think the way Living Weapon works is it creates a 0/0 and then you free equip it if you just toss this into play, so I mean, you're probably not going to have to equip this unless you, purposely want to move it because it's indestructible. This thing's badass. I actually like everything about this. This thing's freaking wild. So get this. Okay, this gets the mythic boost on price, obviously. These mythics are half the prevalence of a rare depending upon how you measure it. This is already pre-ordering at $33. Yeah, this thing's mecha badass. Next up in this iconic Member Berries 2, we've got Altar of the Goif. You guys remember Goif? I remember. remember when Goif wasn't completely overshadowed by a crappy flying vampire? I remember. You remember? Pepperidge Farm members. We're doing a meme crossover episode in this Fridays with PewDiePie. So anyway, this is a tribal artifact lurgoif. I mean, just let that sink in, that a tribe built this. Well, okay, I always think of like artifacts as like robots, and this clearly says altar. It's like, okay, a tribe could build an altar. That makes sense. Why would they build one to something they hate, though? I would assume the lurgoif, like, eats them. Anyway, it's a 5-cost artifact. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, so kind of exalted, it gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of card types among cards in all graveyards. So it's actually mega exalted. And then lurgoif creatures, which at last count there was 2 in the entire history of the game. Might have been up to 3 by now. Lurgoif creatures you control have trample. So if a Tarmogoyf attacks alone, you basically like roughly double its power. And then also boost its toughness. I mean, okay. It's kind of specific. Let's just cut the crap. This would be good in a changeling deck, obviously. Yeah, you were all right down there in the comment section typing that, weren't you? That's why I purposely waited to say it. So next up, we got Gaia Drone Dihada. I'm just gonna call her GD. So GD here is a triple colored 4-cost 4 loyalty legendary planeswalker, obviously. Dihada. Sounds like a shitty European car. Protection from permanents with corruption counters on them. Now remember, there are other things in the game that can drop a counter of your choice on a permanent. So you might be able to do something with her. But let's be honest, probably not with that color combination, but okay. +1, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life, nice. Put a corruption counter on up to 1 other target creature or planeswalker, nice. I do like that they included planeswalker, that's kind of neat. And then -3, gain control of target creature or planeswalker, what? Until end of turn, untap it and put a corruption counter on it. It gains haste until end of turn. Holy crap, that's insane. And then -7, gain control of each permanent with a corruption counter on it. Oh my gosh, bodyguard the hell out of her until she gets to 7. And by the way, that doesn't say until end of turn, and it doesn't say as long as she stays in play. Gain control of them, period. I mean, at least it's not an emblem, but I gotta say, this looks actually relatively fair and balanced, because it's pretty hard to get to 7. You'd kind of want to get to 8. Like, how are you leaving those things in play while also keeping her alive? You'd have to have one hell of a line of bodyguards. Usually you guard a planeswalker with, like, control abilities and spells. But if you can do it and you can pull it off, you get all of them, and then she's hanging out there with either 0 or 1. So in other words, either not hanging out there or sitting there with 1. This is an amazing card. Next up, damn! Okay, you know how Smallpox was a small version of Pox? I literally haven't read the rest of the card. I bet this is miniature Damnation. Especially with that artwork. But, I mean, a miniature Damnation, it's a board wipe, would just be, what, a kill spell? Okay, so let's read it. Destroy target creature. A creature destroyed this way can't be regenerated. Okay, I think that's what original Damnation said, so okay. And then overload with 2 white. Okay. So then you upgrade it to a true board wipe. Oh, that's wild. It's the overload cost is in alternate payment. So you don't have to fit the black in there. So you can actually play this in, I mean, not a commander mono white, but in like a traditionally mono white, you know, not color locked by rule deck. And it's just a 4-cost white board wipe with no downside, which, I mean, the one we currently have in standard lets them draw a card if they control a creature 4 or bigger. Power, was it? I think it was power. I don't think it was toughness. So, like, this is actually a pretty good board wipe. I think there's, like, an equivalent one, too, actually. Fumigate was 5. Planar Cleansing is actually 6. Am I really going to have to look this up? Oh, my gosh. Okay, well, there is Cleanse. We have removed this card from our database because it is racist or culturally offensive. Shut the f*** up. All right, Day of Judgment. There you go. 4-cost sorcery, destroy all creatures in white. So this is Day of Judgment with a double black single target option. So, I mean, that's cool. And I gotta say, guys, in this search, oh my god, did I just find an OBA card. Holy shit. It's a rare from Visions. It was never reprinted. That's all I'm gonna say. That card is the greatest equalizer in the history of Commander. I love it. I want to marry this card. So, hey, hit subscribe if you don't want to miss that. Oh, hey, speaking of something that has nothing to do with anything, are you ugly as hell but you can't afford plastic surgery? Well, the least you can do is up your wardrobe. So if you want some fly-ass looking shirts, check out my sponsor for this video, Into the AM. I hit a certain particular sales target and they gave me a gigantic in-store credit. So I'm just going to take all my old clothes and burn them because this is superior in style, durability, and comfort. Also, a 2XL is like actually 2XL. That's what I tend to wear because I have giant shoulders and because I like to be able to conceal a gun. They're great for concealing guns. I'm sure this California company wanted me saying that. I don't know, they actually do seem like pretty cool people. But yeah, I was adding stuff to my cart. I'm like, oh, I want this. Oh, I gotta have this. Oh, this looks awesome. Oh, it's back in my size. And as soon as I added the third shirt, I was like, whoa, what just happened? Oh, that's right. They've got any 3 shirts for $60. They also have like a really aggressively priced like mystery shirt subscription once a month thing. Y'all gotta check that out. Plus, oh my gosh, the clearance rack right now. Bro, I legitimately had trouble spending like all of the money they just gave me for in-store credit. I mean, I kind of did want one of everything, but I'm like, like I'm going to fit so much in my closet. So anyway, go check them out. They are awesome. They're actually like legitimately really cool people. I know one of the dudes, if you didn't see this in my community tab, I guess he's like the YouTube sponsorship relations rep guy. He said, oh man, I love that you put like some old school Red Alert 2 footage in the original video. I used to play that shit all the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. Like if you say you love cat memes, that's it. I'm moving to California. We're getting gay married. I mean, I don't swing that way. I ain't into dudes, but like 2 out of 3. We got cats. We got RA2. We'll make it work. So anyway, before this ad read gets any more off the rails, go check them out. Link in the description. And best yet, use code DESTHREADS to get 10% off. Yes, I use my own code at my own order. So back to the spoilers. We've got Endurance, which is a 3-cost green elemental incarnation mythic. I think this is the 4th one we've seen. Can't wait to see the blue one. Let's just cut the crap. It as evoke, exile a green card from your hand, so you have to ditch this card. You don't get it as a creature, and then you also are down another card. Hopefully it's worth it. Let's find out. Flash, reach, 3/4. Very nice for 3. Reach is very important in green, because green's like color pie built-in weakness is flyers. It's not like they don't have a way to deal with them, it's just they're less capable of dealing with them than other colors. So right off the bat, pretty good, but when it enters battlefield, up to 1 target player puts all the cards from their graveyard on the bottom of their library in a random order. That is not what I expected. I don't even know what color is graveyard clearing. I'd say colorless. Maybe white? Is that green's thing and it's just been so subtle I haven't noticed? Or this is really weird. Well, I guess like graveyard recycling to use it later is like kind of a blue thing, kind of a green thing. Like it's like green's anti-black kind of thing, I guess. You know, it's like regrowth from like the graveyard. I mean, that almost is just black's thing. It's kind of gray area. They're all into like growing mushrooms from like compost and, you know, like life from death. Like that's kind of black's thing, but black doesn't usually just graveyard straight back to the library. So I don't know. This is very unexpected. I thought it would just say, you know, naturalize basically. Well, I mean, this being a 3/4 with reach, it's a good creature. And if you wanted to put this in place of like a Tormods, I could see it because it's only 3. I mean, yeah, that's a lot more than 0, but a graveyard clearing effect for 3 when you can actually use the creature, and it's double devotion. I mean, you can get a lot of mileage out of this. I like it. I quite like this a lot. Next up, oh my gosh, they put Harambee on a card. Get your out right now. You thought that shit died in like 2017 or whatever the hell it was? I don't know. I have a poor concept of time. Hell no. Harambee's back, and he is now the Grand Ape Shaman of, I don't know. The quotes from Gaia all say Dominaria. He now rules Dominaria, proving that Dominaria still has a smarter voting public than the American people. So anyway, it's a 1-drop 1/1, which is, you know, nice. And then if you pay XX plus 1, destroy target non-creature artifact with mana value X. So it's just like a recurring, shatter, or like that relic, whatever, reckless something. Tells you how often I play red, that I was just like, oh yeah, green, naturalize. And I'm like, red, I don't know, that thing that destroys artifacts. It's like blue and cancel. Like it's, each color has their classics, you know, but I don't know what this one is. I love how the quote is, frankly, destruction is best left to the professionals. Professional apes, I mean, they are strong. Those sons of bitches, man. That is one thing. I would literally rather fight a bear and a kangaroo and a wolf at the same time than a gorilla. You're just, even a strike to the head, it's gonna do nothing. Bears are kind of slow. They got to stump your arms. I mean, they can run, but I mean, their swipes are slower. Wolves, I just feel like I could take a fucking wolf. And if you want to front the money, I will fly to a country that's legal and I will prove it. I mean, for enough money, I will beat the shit out of a wolf. Just quote me on that one. That shit's on the record. So wait, monkey smash. Okay, let's go to the next one. Yes, I know monkeys have tails, apes don't, whatever. Most people don't know that. Next up, we got Flame Blitz. Yeah, I mean, that outfit's pretty flaming. He's kind of asking for it the second he looked in the mirror and said, I'm leaving the house like that. That's what you get. You run the risk when you dress in a red suit with a giant Santa belt buckle. So anyway, it's 1 cost red enchantment at the beginning of your end step. It probably should say each end step, right? Am I just imagining that? Flame Blitz deals 5 damage to each planeswalker. Oh, so we had Virulent Plague, which is one of my favorite cards of all time, where it's just -2/-2 to all tokens for the rest of the game, period, the end. Love that shit. As much as I complain about just, I played this card and now your entire deck's shut down. In some cases, maybe your deck should have been, 1, a little less dickish, and 2, a little more creative and adaptable. Just saying. If you're going all in tokens, you're going to die to a sweeper anyway, okay? But this one, 5 damage to every planeswalker, every single end step. And then you can mainboard this because it has cycling. So if you're like, oh, they ain't running planeswalkers, pay 2, get a different card. I don't know. I hesitate to say this, but I think we might have my new favorite card of the set. Because I just hate Super Friends that fucking much. So next up we got Defile, another one of my favorite cards actually, believe it or not. It's a reprint obviously, and it's 1 black instant, and target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each swamp you control. There you go, mono black, real swamps, real shit, running Cryptghast, just doing an OG classic black deck. Not overpowered, just chilling out. And you've got a devastating kill spell that can play around indestructible for 1 at instant speed. This thing is red hot, and I love it. So this actually was only an MH1, but I was pretty excited about it at the time too. Next up, Millikin. Isn't that obnoxious Pokemon that uses rollout and makes people smash their Game Boys against the wall? Gen 2 was harsh. So Miltank Hair is a 2-cost artifact creature construct, and if you tap it, mill a card, and then add 1 colorless. So, okay, you probably wanted one of the 2 of those to happen. I mean, we all know MH2 is like self-mill and then resurrect from the graveyard. That's one of the major mechanics. Okay, this does that. I mean, what more is there to say? And I like the creepypasta they put down there in the flavor text. So, another failure, grumbled the toy maker. She slammed the door with such gusto that she failed to notice the eyes watching her. So in other words, she was even more right, because you fuck up if the eyes are glowing like that. Next up, what the hell is that? It looks like something that'll grow in the back of your fridge if you forgot about something back there. And also it shreds bone, so it's a 3-cost bone shredder, Phyrexian minion, great. Flying, and then Echo 3. And it's a 1/1, wow. So yeah, you pay for it once, and then the next, upkeep? Yeah, upkeep, you have to pay for it again, otherwise you sack it. And then when it enters the battlefield, destroy target non-artifact, non-black creature. So once again, it's Doomblade mixed with Go for the Throat, but with both of their weaknesses. And it's a creature, and it has Echo, and it costs more, and it's a 1/1, so you don't really want the creature. This thing is just a dumpster fire. Moving on, we've got a reprint of all the talismans. So we got the Talisman of Resilience here, which is, of course, black-green. It is a 2-drop. You can tap it and add 1 colorless. Otherwise, you can tap it and add 1 black or 1 green. But it does 1 damage to you. So it's, I didn't know there'd be a quiz in this episode. A clue stone, is that what it is? No. Oh, wait, yeah, pretty much. So clue stones cost 1 more to get out, which is, pretty drastic when you're talking about mana rocks. Like, you really want your mana dorks and your mana rocks to cost 1 or 2, because by 3 you might not get to 3. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to ramp, you want to get on that shit early. You know what I mean? So this is a more aggressive clue stone, but if you need a color out of it, you're gonna get dinged every time. So it's a clue stone mixed with a pain land, which is actually interesting. I like the concept behind it, and these, I believe, are pretty popular. Now, obviously, since this screams Commander Mana Rock, it was in Commander 2021, believe it or not. Otherwise, it was originally printed in Modern Horizons 1, and that's it. And these are sitting at, because of the rarity, I assume, 25 cents from Commander and 49 cents from MH1, which is kind of unexpected given the rarity in the print volumes. Okay, bit of an anomaly there. But yeah, these are neat, and there's 5 of them, so, hey. Next up, we got a sideways card here. It's Ditto and Feito. Well, I know Ditto's a Pokemon. I don't know about Fido. So it's actually said and done. Wow, that is really different than the Spanish word for done. Anyway, it's a 3-cost sorcery on the left there, and it says return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard in your hand. Okay, I mean, that probably should cost 3, and be a sorcery. And then done is 4-cost instant, tap up to 2 target creatures, and then they don't untap. So basically, ice effect. And I forgot the terminology for this, but it doesn't have fuse, so you cannot do both, I believe. Next up, we got a reprint from Apocalypse. Boy, I didn't know they did these back then. Holy crap. It's actually from the original Commander set, too. And MH1, and Ultimate Masters. And there was a promotional version. Boy, this has been printed to death, and it ain't worth nothing either. So, okay, but it's a good card, if I recall. So, yeah, fire, 2 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 targets. Nice. And then ice, tap target permanent, draw a card. Real simple, very is it. Yeah. Next up, we got Sanctifier and Vec. And yet this is in English, allegedly. I don't know why that's in italics, but this is at best Latin. I don't know what this is. Now, I do know I've seen this on cards before. We've had Clergy and Vec, Defender and Vec, Oracle, Paladin, and Ranger. And now we have Sanctifier. And this card's pretty beast. I mean, it's a 2-drop 2/2, double devotion, currently pre-ordering at $9, and it has protection for black and red, so right off the bat, that's insane. And then when it enters the battlefield, exile all cards that are black or red from all graveyards. And then if a black or red permanent, spell, or card not on the battlefield would be put into a graveyard, exile it instead. So she keeps that graveyard exiling going. Well, I googled meaning of N-Vec, and all I got is just like the word Vec, which means a bunch of stuff in like math and Urban Dictionary, and I'm not convinced it means anything. My best guess is it means racist bitch, because she hates black and red. By the way, Vec in Latin means to like drive or convey. I think it's just some bullshit they made up in the Tempest set, honestly. Good card, though. Next up, Karmic Guide. I do believe that's a reprint, but I don't have time to look every single one of these up, nor do I care, nor is it relevant. So it's a 5-cost 2/2 Angel Spirit, flying protection from black, nice. And Echo 5, that's rough, but then when it enters battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard directly to the battlefield. Hello! So if you pay 5 once and don't pay it the second time, you get temporary use of an angel blocking once, and then you really just paid for a resurrection effect, which, rise from the grave is 5. That's pretty much the baseline, although, wrong color, but whatever. But then if you pay another 5, you get the resurrection, and you get to keep the angel, which, I mean, pro black, okay, cool, otherwise it's a 2/2, which is garbage. But if you could block a giant, like, flying demon, like, for the rest of the game, hey, get some mileage out of that. Very specific card, though. Next up, we got Abiding Grace. It's a 3-cost enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, choose 1. You gain 1 life, or return target creature card with mana value of exactly 1 from your graveyard to the battlefield. Oh, that could be abused. That stupid, what was it, the Eidolon, or the whatever the hell people are doing? I think even that Selfless Rescuer thing, doesn't that thing cost 1? I feel like one of those 2 costs 2, but like that's already degenerate as shit in Standard, where they just loop it with Luris over and over and over, and you can never destroy their giant creatures, and then it's like, life gain triggers for the rest of the deck. My God, do I hate that overpowered deck. They need to ban that thing immediately. Now, as of the release of Strixhaven, we've got like 3 worse decks than that, so it's not even a priority, but I mean, you could ban 50 cards and people will just start playing that one monolith thing or whatever that like saves counters and drops them onto the next thing at the next upkeep or whatever. Like, you almost can't reasonably feasibly ban yourself back to a comfortable state of Standard where the power level is back to, like, something acceptable by most people. And remember, Mark Rosewater's own survey on his own Twitter and his own blog both said around 74% of people who play Standard are not happy with the state of Standard. It is too powerful. So 3/4 of them, of Mark Rosewater apologist ass-kissers who follow him around like a bunch of sad lost puppies on the internet, that many of them told him, no, we don't like the direction of Magic, and he's now about a year later doubled down and said, we're going to keep printing Commander grade shit in Standard because f*** you. And people wonder why I'm very, very, very vocally concerned about the state of the game and the future of the game. So, like, okay, I get it, it's an uncommon, but really? 35 cents pre-order? Really? I don't invest or do buyouts on uncommons, but damn. Plus, I mean, it's an infinite life gain trigger. I mean, this thing would be insane if it cost 2. I get it, it's 3 mana and it's low devotion, but like, still. So next up, we've got Sudden Edict. Hey guys, what do you get when Joe Biden signs an executive order saying that the right to bear arms has been suspended? you get this card's artwork. You if you didn't like that joke. So this is a 2-cost instant, split second, love that. It's basically, this is the last thing that could be on the stack and nothing can go above it, and then target player sacrifices a creature. So just a solid spell. And I just verified this is a brand new card, so pretty spicy removal here. I think, isn't it basically just like the tiny little improvement on like Farika's whatever Saka thing, but it doesn't do enchantments? Nah, hell, I'll take it. I like options. Next up, Shattered Ego. It's a 1-cost enchantment aura. I could have sworn I already covered this. I don't know. Enchanted creature gets -3, -0, and then if you pay 5, put enchanted creature into its owner's library, 3rd from the top. Really? After you've already pinned it down, you're going to waste 5 mana on that? I wouldn't even bother putting this on something that has like a problematic trigger or like an activated ability. Whatever. I mean, it's a backup plan. It's a common. This isn't supposed to be good. Next up, lose focus. I mean, I have a theory that you might be losing focus because you're dressed like an absolute lunatic. He looks like, isn't this what the people from the future dressed like in the first Bill and Ted movie? Anyway, it's a 2-cost blue instant. It has Replicate. I don't think I've ever heard of that. When you cast a spell, copy it for each time you paid its Replicate cost. Oh, that makes sense. You may choose new targets for the copies. That's literally just Strive. I mean, come on. Replicate my taint. So anyway, counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. Oh, then you could pay 1 extra and they have to pay 4 because you'll target the same spell twice. And then pay 4 and it would be 6. Math is hard. I actually kind of like this, but like just run Syncopate. I guess like at certain mana costs, this is just better than Syncopate. I think the break-even point is like 3 or 4. I'd have to pull it up and do math, and well, like I said, that's not going to happen. It's like 1:30 in the morning. But I mean, it's interesting. It's an interesting card. Next up, Rise Guanajardente, which is of course Blazing Rootwalla. Dude, this lizard creature is still less flaming than that guy in the red suit. I'm telling you, nobody could pull off a red suit. But shout out to him for burning all the planeswalkers. So this is a 1-cost 1/1 creature lizard. It has pay 1 red. You can do it multiple times. Oh, I lied. Activate only once per turn. And Blazing Rootwalla gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Yeah, you don't just do double fire breathing for 1 on a 1/1 and just pretend that that's okay. So yeah, you pay 1, it's a 3/1. That's pretty good. We've had creatures like this that were somewhat, popular in Standard. So yeah, I could see this working. And next up, we've got Titania, Protector of Argoth. Well, they're doing Shakespeare tie-ins now. Okay. So in A Midsummer Night's Dream, she is the Queen of the Fairies. And she is stated as being a legendary creature elemental in this game. So, shout out maybe. Little Realms Beyond tie-in there. When Titania, Protector of Argoth, enters the battlefield, return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay. Probably another, fetch land or something, Evolving Wilds, Fabled, whatever. And then whenever a land you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, create a 5/3 green elemental creature token. I mean, okay, so you get 1 5/3, you get a land back, you get an extra landfall, and then you get a 5/3 once, and then she's done. I don't know if that's honestly good enough to go in a landfall deck, because she herself doesn't have landfall. She actually has, like, land leave, but I gotta say, I mean, if you cast Armageddon on top of her, you would just win. There would be, unless they counter that spell, there would be nothing your opponent can do against an army, yes, it would work that way, of 5/3s, while they have 0 mana available to them. So that's like the combo of the century, but good luck getting it to go off. But I mean, it would be pretty funny. So next up we got Thrabin, who knows, Watcher. This is why they need pronunciation keys. It's a 4-cost double devotion. Yay, shout out to devotion. 2/2 angel, flying vigilance, nice. And other non-token creatures you control get +1/+1 and have vigilance. I feel like this is just like 1 more mana than an existing booster that does +1/+1 and vigilance, but I don't remember. It was from a couple years ago. Or maybe that one did cost 4, because that seems like a lot. But on top of this, you also get an angel. So, I mean, yeah, this is really decent. An angel tribal, flying lifelink, all flyers, clerics, any of the crap that people are playing right now in Standard. You might be able to throw this in and be able to translate it with all the boosts into something in Modern. So, hard to say, though, because Angel Tribal right now in Standard isn't very good. Oh, I just remembered. Always Watching. Always Watching from SOI. That's what it was. 3-cost enchantment, non-token creatures you control have +1/+1 in vigilance. That card was absolutely batshit. I knew this was a reference to another card. So honestly, I'd rather have an enchantment do this than you know, a creature, but if they take her out, it's one less actually good angel, you know, but all your angels just shrunk, so, you know, you gamble if you want. So that is it for today. Thankfully, we got some pretty wild cards. Only one or two truly egregious ones. The rest, actually pretty excited about. We saw quite a few cards that I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. So that's good, at least. Good direction for the set to go. It's already pretty much ruined by a couple select cards, but, well, wouldn't be a Wizards of the Coast launch or product release or spoiler set without that, would it be? So hey, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to check out Into the AM, link in the description. Use code DESTHREADS for 10% off, and I will see you guys next time.